everybody, welcome to another video. So I've recently got a Meiji finer core force. Hi everybody, welcome to another video. So I've recently got a Meiji finer force. Now I've got all of these, but this is the last one. This is the Type C and it's only just come out. Quite a few people have asked me how I've been getting on with it. I did an introduction video, but it was more about what was wrong with it rather than what's right with it. So the reason for this video is when I first got this, or when I very first got it, I do like most people do. I just plugged it into some air and just gave it a quick squirt, no fluid for it or anything, just to make sure it was airtight, and it was absolutely fine. I used it for the first time and it seemed okay. You couldn't really hear anything or detect anything, but when I went to clean it, I could hear air coming out the back. Now that is something that happens. I'll put a little video up in the right hand corner there, or my right hand corner, and it was something that's happened quite a lot on Iwata guns. And the reason I say that is my wider 1L has recently started doing it. So this was a bit of a double-edged sword. One, why would a gun that is, in my opinion, probably the best made spray gun there is, as far as quality of production and engineering, leak so easily? And we'll run through why it does and how to fix it. But also the Iwatas, this is the fourth Iwata I've had that does this, and I'm not sure why they both seem to use the same design. But for example, if I plug this in here, now you'll probably hear some air coming out, and if I take this out, hopefully you can hear. Now I mean that's quite a lot. This is it's 4 bar the pressure going into the gun at the moment, but if you can hear that, and I've got a bit of soap and water and you will now see it there. So why do these things do this? Well, I know why they do it, but they shouldn't do it is what I'm saying. But anyway, the thing that surprised me, and as I said, about it being a double-edged sword, with the Meiji gun, now I got this from Painting Tools Japan, which I normally do. I took a little video of it leaking, the one you actually saw in the corner just now, of it leaking, and I had a look at the drawings, because I've got some drawings. These are actually, that's actually the pressure version, but the parts are the same, from the UK importer of Meiji, which is meiji.co.uk, or Beyond Surface Solutions, so BSS, in the UK. But as I say, I got this from Japan, got this from Painting Tools Japan, and told them the parts I need, which I'll show you in a second. These are the 2 parts they sent, and they come through within 4 days, obviously free of charge. But if you see there, these are the old parts. That is a sealing ring, which we'll go through in a minute, and that is, it's described as a spring buffer, but it's something that the rear spring pushes against effectively. But what we do is we'll have a look how we do it. But what I wanted to say about this being a double-edged sword, so we take this out, we pull the needle out as per usual. Now I undo this. This is 11mm. You'll find on the Iwatas, I try and use a socket if I can, or a ring spanner or something that puts even distribution around here, because it's very easy to chip the plating. If it's chrome plated or nickel plated or whatever it is, it can take it off, and it just makes the gun look crappy, really, especially if it's new. So try and get something on there that actually puts an even distribution of force around there. Now, as I say, I use the socket, which on the Iwatas is difficult because you've only got a small area here where my finger is, which is the bridge between the two. Now it's obviously a bigger socket needed for that, but you can see what I mean. You might not have enough of a gap. On this I think you would have, but on the LPH 400, which I've also had problem doing exactly the same thing, you can't quite get a socket in there. But make sure you get a good quality spanner that fits really tight, with as wide jaws as possible, so that you put an even load on that nut to undo it. But this one is quite easy. Now what I meant by double-edged sword is to take this out, and one of the little things I have in my head to know whether a spray gun is good or not is when you take these things off. Normally some of the cheaper guns have got a lot of Loctite or similar put round here to create a seal to stop the air leaking out the side. Ironically it's leaking out the middle, but to stop the air leaking out the side. This just relies on a very fine thread and a small O-ring. There's no sealant or anything here whatsoever. That isn't the problem. That works very well. But what you actually get inside here, and this is the spring. When I was saying that metal part I showed you is classed as a spring rest, that's because the spring rests against it like that. And then when you pull the trigger, that pulls that back with the needle in between, and that's what allows the trigger to come back. Which, so it's very straightforward. It's simple stuff. But what you get on the Meiji, which really surprised me, and Painting Tools Japan, as I say, sent me those parts, the ability to change the O-ring, the sealing O-ring, that's the ring that seals, but I asked for both of these parts and was duly sent them, obviously free of charge. And I just replaced that part there and replaced that. I kept the old ones to show you for the video, basically. But you literally just hook that out, put a new seal in. You can change that if you want to, but it should just be that. Now looking on the UK importers, that part is actually £2 plus VAT, £2.30. And what I meant by double-edged sword is you can repair this even if you want to change that, although I don't think you need to. If you want to change that, you could repair this, including the VAT and the postage, about 10 GB pounds. Now, for Iwata, you have to change this whole assembly. It's a similar thing to that. If I undo that now, you end up with something like that. You know, just the Iwata version of it. But that's what you can change. You can only change the whole assembly. I did on my LPH 80, which was also leaking out the back, managed to find an O-ring and put a new O-ring in there, because there is an O-ring in there. But you can't buy the parts separately. And when I say double-edged sword, it was I was really surprised that there was a fault with this. In fact, I couldn't believe it when it first happened, because I'm always praising how good they are and how well made they are. You know, you get guns as good as these, but you don't get them made as well as these, not in my opinion anyway, although a lot of the stuff's coming close to it these days. But I was just really surprised to find that it had a problem. But I was also really surprised that the answer to that problem was relatively cheap. So if this hadn't been under warranty, you would pick these parts, as I say, including the postage, for under a tenner, which I think is what you should do, rather than rip people off with one of these. Now, one of these for the Iwata in the UK costs about 35 GB pounds, so it's 3.5 times the price to repair the same problem, which is, you know, it's a bit of a rip-off really, isn't it? But anyway, I thought I would just run that past you. I will get a proper review up of this. In fact, I did a review of using some clear coat, one with a reducer or thinners and one without, just to see the difference, because a few people have said that. But I also left it for 4 weeks to see that if the one with the reducer on it actually had more dieback than the one without. So I'll get a video up with that. And I was using this, and that was the first time I was using this, and I struggled a little bit with it. but I've since found its sweeter spot, and that's the fact that it likes a better quality clear coat than the clear coat I was using, because it is quite a fine sprayer. But anyway, I thought I would share that with you. Just one more thing, I know I'm rabbiting on a bit, but I realised when I got this socket out to do this video, this is one of the reasons why I like quality tools. And this isn't spray gun related, but it is related to my life and why I do what I do and enjoy spending money on good tools. This is an Iwata socket, made in West Germany. That's how old it is, if you can see. I don't know whether you can actually see. In fact, I don't think you can, but yeah. Made in West, chrome vanadium, Iwata. Made in West Germany. Hopefully you can see that. But I bought this when I was 17. Now, when you look at this, you can see that was a fair while ago. So that thing's lasted me, along with the rest of the set I got, all those years. You can see it's been hammered. You see little bits there where I've hammered it on to, you know, to get a rusted nut off or whatever, maybe a 12mm, and banged this 11mm on top. You can see the chrome chipping at the front, but it's still a good usable socket, and that's the reason I like quality tools. I did a thing once, and sorry to rabbit on about something different, but I might as well tell you why I'm here. I did a head gasket on a motorcycle. It was only a 250, but I had to go to work the next day, so I rode it home in the evening, left the bike for about 3 hours while I had something to eat and that, and then went out and changed the head gasket and finished about 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. It was only a 250, but it was a double overhead camshaft, so it had 2 camshafts, 16 valves, so there was a fair bit to do for a small engine. And when I was torquing the head down, my socket set, which was an old Stanley one, nothing wrong with Stanley, but it wasn't one of their better quality items. The socket split, and a bit of it fell down the cam chain tunnel. Now, those familiar with bikes will know that you have 2 camshafts on top with your 16 valves, and you have a cam chain in the centre normally. Sometimes you have it on the side, but in this particular one, it had it on the centre, and it fell down. And that meant that the whole lot could have been absolutely a right pain, because you just got to strip the whole thing down. It would have fallen into the gearbox. Lucky enough, I had a long magnet, and I managed to pick this piece out, and I've stuck it on the side to make sure it was all that was missing. And from that day onwards, 17 years old, I decided that I would only buy quality tools. I know I buy cheap Chinese spray guns, but that's just for the channel really. But that's why I like quality tools. Anyway, that's from years ago. I thought I'd tell you anyway. Sorry to bore you, but anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers guys, bye bye.